Coffee break. Today's tidbit.
It's time for our weekday coffee break. Today's tidbit with Angela joining us in the studio. Angela, hello to you.
Hi, SJ.
Angela told me I have to start off with an apology.
He botched the name of the song. It's Maple Latte.
Maple latte. So I didn't have it in English, right? It says maple latte. Mm-hmm. Now that you told, I told our producer, I was like, what is maple latte? What's a maple latte? Maple latte, what's a maple latte? Because I have it in Korean. I thought it was like...
So it's very fitting for coffee break.
I know. It was supposed to be very fitting for coffee break, but I was like, what's a maple latte? I thought it was like Spanish or something.
This just shows how uncultured you are, SJ.
I didn't even know there was a maple latte.
See, you haven't watched Back to the Future. You
No.
haven't even had a maple latte before. And our producer is saying you should study some Korean.
I went to 한글학교, okay, in New York. I went to 한글학교. My Korean is good enough. I'm telling you, these titles
Nothing wrong with maple latte. It's a perfectly okay title.
I apologize to all the people of Day 6 and Canada, apparently. Apparently Canadians be drinking maple lattes. Now I know. Now I know.
I know. Today's tidbit.
Of all the songs that I butcher is Day 6, and Angela's a big fan of Day 6. What's today's tidbit, Angela?
So this Sunday, April 20th, is Disabled Persons Day in South Korea, so I wanted to talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
It's a day meant to raise awareness and promote rehabilitation and inclusion for people with disabilities. And it's specifically only to South Korea. International Day of Persons with Disabilities is on December 3rd.
Okay, maybe we're going to find out why it's April 20th in the first place. But when did this start, though?
So, officially in 1981,
Wow.
that was the first year the Korean government celebrated Disabled Persons Day, because that year the UN had declared it the International Day of Persons with Disabilities, and Korea joined in by holding its first nationwide event. But interestingly, the movement actually started even earlier. So way back in 1972, a civil group in South Korea launched what was called Rehabilitation Day, or 재활의 날, on April 20th. And so that carried on, and in 1991, that April 20th was legally designated as an official national day through Korea's Act on Welfare of Persons with Disabilities. So officially it's not so long ago, but unofficially it has a history.
Like it's interesting because like I feel like it's different with Day of Disabled, like a Disabled Persons Day and Rehabilitation Day, because rehabilitation doesn't necessarily mean you're disabled.
So the 1991 legal designated day is more encompassing. Yes. So,
yeah, that's why I was like, wow, 1972, right? I mean, they're going very early with this, but it's not necessarily for the disabled. But like you said, 1991, which like you said, I mean, 1991 sounds like forever, but it is not too long ago.
Yes.
But I'm assuming that there are many events happening to commemorate this very day.
Events across the country happen nationwide, including like sports competitions for disabled persons, award ceremonies, public campaigns, even musical performances, all aiming to promote disability rights and visibility. Also, some national broadcasting also make like dramas specifically for disabled persons every year, so that also happens too.
There was, what I liked was nowadays in dramas they're showing more people with disabilities.
Yes.
And
we're going to get into that.
We are?
Yes.
We're going to talk about the drama that I like.
What drama?
No, the few dramas that I watch.
Okay, maybe.
We'll talk about it when we do dramas, maybe not. But I have to say, though, since you mentioned sports competitions, like, you know how there's the Olympics and the Paralympics?
Yes.
I actually enjoy watching Paralympics because
me too.
There's a sport that I really like.
What is it?
Volleyball.
Oh.
So they're all paraplegic, and so they're on basically on their butts, and they're playing volleyball, and it's so much harder.
Oh, wow.
Because you have to move around and you have to do the bump set, spike, all that stuff together, and I really enjoy watching this. And so,
It's amazing, yes.
it's incredible what they're
Yes.
able to do. So disability policy, let's talk about this, right? There are a lot of people say that, there's still room for improvement still right now,
Definitely.
but it has grown on a lot here in Korea since 1991.
Yes, the 1991 law was definitely a turning point, not just by recognizing the day, but also reinforcing government responsibility. So I think that's really important. But more recently, we've seen Korean technology really play a growing role in accessibility.
Like how?
So like, AI, we can't leave it out these days. Things like AI tools for the visually impaired. And even this year, there was a law, the mandatory rollout of barrier-free kiosks for public use.
Goodness. They're coming out with so many new technologies.
Yes, you can't keep up really.
Angela was just saying, like, you're not even that old. Like, when I was butchering the song, she's like, you're not even that old. You know how I feel old? Because there's new things that's popping up right now, especially when it comes to technology.
Yes.
Barrier-free kiosks. Like, well, what's a barrier-free kiosk?
So, like barrier-free is basically making things accessible for the disabled.
Okay.
So barrier-free kiosks are touchscreen ordering systems we see at fast food restaurants. Yeah. But they're redesigned so they can be used by people with disabilities or elderly customers as well. So they include things like Braille, voice prompts,
Braille?
yes, lower screens for wheelchair access, and even call buttons if help is needed.
Braille.
Yeah,
That's...
for the visually impaired.
Wow. At a touchscreen ordering system. That's
I think
pretty
that's
cool.
really cool, right?
Yeah, definitely so.
Yeah, and as of this year in South Korea, they're now mandatory in stores over 50 square meters.
Good stuff. But when there's like good stuff going on,
There's always a catch.
there's always a catch, right? There's a catch with this one
Yes,
too.
so apparently there's not enough supply to meet demand. Only a couple of companies actually manufacture these kiosks. I imagine they are difficult to make, with having to include all these technology.
Yeah.
But the government offers financial support, but it's not enough to cover every business. So many small shop owners are asking for more time or better funding.
Yeah, so this is like we often see protests happen amongst the disability groups, right? And it's not because Korea is not doing anything to improve the system, but they're saying that not enough is being done.
Yes, I definitely think more could be done.
Yeah, for sure. And so, this is one of those, right?
Yes. But even with these bumps, I think it's still a signal that South Korea is really taking, inclusion, not only digital inclusion, but all inclusion very more seriously. And one example of this is, have you ever seen those viral videos of sign language interpretation happening at concerts?
I have.
You
There was a rap concert going on,
Yes.
and she was rapping in sign language.
Yes, rapidly doing sign language.
That is crazy.
It is amazing. So they were really viral on social media, and South Korea is also taking part in that, by offering sign language interpretation at K-pop concerts, for BTS concerts, and IU also offered it. So in concerts, the interpreters help deaf fans enjoy lyrics and the emotions. And under South Korean law, deaf people can ask for concerts to offer sign language interpretation.
Really?
Yes.
So if they want to go to a concert, any concert, and they request that they want sign interpretation, they get sign language
So
service.
under law, legally, concert venues should offer it. But again, there's a catch. Offering doesn't actually always lead to the service being offered.
Yeah.
So I think we need to make this more known
Yeah.
for it to actually happen.
Benny says, I remember Daily K and K-pop in interview Big Ocean last year, and
right.
just last Monday, the CEO was on Daily K. What a lovely idea for her label, CEO Haley Chan. Benny, do you not remember? I was the first one to interview Haley. She was a personal friend of mine, and we brought her in to talk about Big Ocean.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Do you remember Big Ocean?
Yes. The head of that agency.
Yeah.
It was a friend of mine, Haley, and she's, we talked about
Yeah,
this.
I contacted her
What?
for the interview.
Yes. And I told you about them. I was like, look into this, but this is cool stuff. And I will have to say, we talked about the viral video of the rap concert. If anybody can do a sign language on Eminem's Rap God, I want to see it. I just want to see it. I just want to put it out there. Angela, we talked about policy and tech related to kind of catering to those with disabilities. But what about disabilities represented in pop culture in South Korea? We're going to talk about this.
Yeah, so as you mentioned earlier, it's definitely improving. A great example, we can't leave out Extraordinary Attorney Woo. The lead character, Woo Young-woo, is a lawyer on the autism spectrum, and she's portrayed with both brilliance and vulnerability. So it's really breaking away from old stereotypes. And another recent drama, actually the song we just heard, was a original soundtrack from this drama, Twinkling Watermelon or 반짝이는 Watermelon. It's actually Korea's first to feature a coda. Do you know what that is?
No, I don't know what a coda is.
Coda is a child of deaf adults.
Oh.
And in the drama, the main character is a coda. So the drama uses music and fantasy, explore communication between hearing and non-hearing worlds. And so in South Korean dramas, we're seeing a lot more disabled people being represented on screen.
Yeah, you know how I was saying, like, one of the few dramas I watched, there was a disabled character in that, and it happens to be a drama that Park Eun-bin comes out in.
Also stars in
Stove League.
Yes.
There's a person who works with the team, and he has a wheelchair and things like that. And they show little things like how they don't have wheelchair accessible areas, and they point out all the things regarding this. But if I remember correctly, I remember seeing like sign languages like in news too, right?
Yeah, so in South Korea now you can see sign language in the corner on news programs. Earlier this year, SBS also aired a news segment about a blizzard in the US, and the sign language interpreter went viral. Like, people said his performance was so vivid that they could just understand without even, hearing the news. So yes, sign language is getting more recognition these days.
So tell us about sign language and the recognition that it's getting right now. Is it widespread though?
Yes and no. It's gaining respect, but obviously there are still issues. For example, a drama recently got in trouble for mocking a sign during a news scene. So, it caused enough outrage that Korea's broadcast regulator launched a formal review. But I think it's good news that these discussions are happening and people are paying attention.
What about with those with visual impairments, though?
Oh, yeah. So actor Park Jo-min's publishing company just launched a listening novel project for the visually impaired. And what is unique is that the story was written specifically to be listened to and not just read. So instead of just converting a paper book into an audio version, they wrote the entire script with the audio experience in mind, meaning that there's more dialogue and it's paced for listening. And the audiobook was donated to the National Library for the Disabled and will be available on platforms later this month. A physical copy will also be coming next month as well.
All right, so we're talking about how there is room for improvement, but where does Korea stand now compared to some other countries?
Well, yeah, as we mentioned, Korea still has a long way to go, but I think, I want to mention the positive things, like things with the Korean Sign Language Act passed in 2016. A lot of effort is happening, and accessibility, is no longer just a policy. We can actually see things changing and happening. It's becoming part of culture, so I think that's really positive.
And we have a lawmaker who has a disability,
yes,
right?
We also have that as well.
We talked about this before. I mean, again, it's just not just about a single day, right? I think we need to bring about more awareness to those that are disabled.
Yes, and it's really about recognizing everyone's right to participate in society. So yes, I think it's a day we really should remember.
Good stuff, Angela. Loved today's tidbit. Thank you so much. Have a safe rest of your night. We'll see you again tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.
I hope you enjoyed that segment on the Culture Inc. If you want to hear more and other great segments on our show, you can tune into Arirang Radio every day from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Korea Standard Time.